We've all seen the sets that we remember, with some great cards on the front like Red Dragon Archfiend, Assault Mode, Stardust Dragon, and even Yugi 10 times. But today, we're going to be talking about some of the worst cover cards to ever make it onto a Yu-Gi-Oh set. Now, for this and the eventually coming top 10 best cover cards, which you guys should subscribe for if you want to see, I'm only going to be talking about main series cards. So we're talking Legend of Blue Eyes, Metal Raiders, Spell Ruler, Pharaonic Guardian, Invasion of Chaos, The Lost Millennium, Secrets of Eternity, you know, main sets. I'm not talking about Shadows in Valhalla or Infinity Chasers, for example. I'm not talking about Premium Gold because, I don't think the Millennium Eye is a card. So we're going to be talking about the top 10 worst cover cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, they're not all bad cards in a way. They're just sort of underwhelming, especially in the case that there are like 5 other cards in that main set that could have been the cover card, and if we go back old enough, could have been the Ghost Rare over them. So, in either case, hope you guys enjoy, and let's head straight into the list. Number 10 is a card that I remember very distinctly a lot of Yu-Gi-Tubers were hyping up. Not just the usuals of Asian Eyes, yes, he was relevant back in these days, Mega Capital G, but we also have people like Olinthio completely hyping the shit out of this card. This is Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon from the set Clash of Rebellion. Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon is just kinda whack in the way that's like, wait, what's a Pendulum Xyz? What could that be? I don't understand what this is, because keep in mind, the synchro pendulums that we would see on a bunch of other main sets, like Nirvana High Paladin, hadn't come out yet. So this is like the first, like, dual type card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, we didn't exactly have any, like, spell traps before, so I guess I can call this the first dual type and feel pretty confident in it. It's not actually good in the way that you would think. It's a material for Odd Eyes Fusion, basically. Does it have an effect? Sure, but are you really going to use 2 random-ass Pendulum Magicians just to be able to turn an Xyz into a level and then be able to Xyz with this to make it an OTK machine? No, you're not. And trust me, this was hyped up even when it was just shown in the anime. People actually saw this and thought, this won't come to the real-life card game because it's a Pendulum Xyz. It sounds a little silly now, but, I mean, it makes sense back in the day. We had never seen anything like this before. Would you think Deckmasters would come out in the game if you were just watching through the Noah arc of DM? I wouldn't think so. So, give him some slack on that. But also know that this card got nerfed a little bit and just kind of fell off the wayside, unfortunately, because it is a very cool card. Number 9 is the most recent card on this list. This is Borreload X-Charge Dragon, and this card was from Rising Rampage. Its effect is only useful late game. Even then, reviving a Borrel for just 1 turn isn't very good. It's just kinda neat on being a 2500 attack beat stick for Rockets, when Rockets got what they needed in Chaos Impact, and also just as a little bit of a break, I know Dark Fluid ain't on this list, but also keep in mind, Chaos Impact is one of the worst sets in Yu-Gi-Oh! I've seen in a very long time. When you have to put 2 Link Vrains Packs cards as your special editions just to get people to buy your product, that is a problem. But either way, Borreload X-Charge Dragon is just an okay card. That's really the most I could say about it. And if number 9 on the worst is just okay, that's honestly not bad for choosing cover cards if we're being completely honest with ourselves here. But okay isn't what Rockets needed. They needed something like Booster Dragon, but better, to bring them into the scale of where Dragon Link's shoes are now. It needs something to be filled, and we all know Dragonities aren't doing that, and we know the Borrels aren't doing that with X-Charge Dragon, so we can only move on and hope from there. So, number 8, you knew this one was coming. You guys don't like that this is on the list. I don't like that this is on the list, but it has to be here. Number 8 is Rainbow Dragon from Tactical Evolution. Well, how do I put this? You need 7 Crystal Beast monsters to be on field or in graveyard, and you don't have Anime Ruby Carbuncle that just spams itself from the Spell and Trap card zone, and then special summons everything else from the Spell and Trap card zone. If Crystal Beast had that, they might actually be good at some point, but Crystal Beast is such a bad position that you can see, like, the pendulums that were revealed, what was it, like 4 to 5 years ago by this point? When they actually came out in the TCG, people in the TCG actually kind of, like, knew about it about 6 months after the fact when they were like, oh, right! When they were looking through bulk or, like, someone's binder and they saw that and they're like, oh, I forgot these existed. Okay, Crystal Vanguard, that's funny. It's just a lot of work for not very much payoff, and honestly, that's pretty good to, like, put on this list. It's a lot of work. Well, I mean, when I say not too much payoff, I mean, it's really good payoff, it's just not enough for what it asks of you, because it's just a big Ooga Booga Beat Stick. And that's pretty neat, but 7 Crystal Beasts of different names? No. Cannot explain how this would be good to anyone unless you're just prismaing it away to go into Rainbow Neos. In that case, it's just really funny. Next up, we have, well, I'm not certain why this card had to exist, other than the fact that Aster had to just flex on Jaden, but this is Shining Phoenix Enforcer from the set Enemy of Justice. It's just worse than Shining Flare Wingman. That's all it is. You don't need a big beat stick to be indestructible by battle. Didn't you learn this earlier on, GX, with Dark Guardian, which just died and made the Paradox Brothers die? It's 3,800 attack, can't be destroyed by battle. Why'd we need it on this? This came out later in the show. I don't understand why it's indestructible by battle. Its design is really neat, I can give it that, but why would you not just play Shining Flare Wingman? Because Flame Wingman's better than Phoenix Enforcer, and Shining Flare Wingman is way better than Shining Phoenix Enforcer. I mean, I like Flame Wingman better than Phoenix Enforcer in design, and then other way around for the Shinings, but oh well, whatever. That's not the most important thing for this list. If you want to talk about card arts for Elemental Heroes and D Heroes, I've got videos on that. Granted, it's only the worst ones. Number 6 is honestly just saddening to me. Number 6 is Blackwing Dragon, from the set The Shining Darkness. It's the worst Signer Dragon. Let's just go through, because you have Stardust Dragon. Amazing for a very long time, even all the way up to Zoo format, because of Starlight Road negating an interrupted Kaiju Slumber or a Dark Hole, and then being able to do it again. That's pretty sick, dude. You got Red Dragon Archfiend, which was just a really big level 8 synchro, since it took a very long time for level 8 synchros to actually get to 3,000 attack, so it mattered to be able to beat over an unbuffed Colossal Fighter, or a Scrap Dragon, or a Thought Ruler Archfiend, or even an opposing Stardust Dragon. So keep that in mind. We have Ancient Fairy Dragon. This thing should have been banned a long time before it actually was, but that should tell you how genuinely powerful it is. We have Power Tool Dragon, and if you don't count that, Lifestream Dragon, and let's talk about both at the same time. Power Tool Dragon. You use this for any deck that can Synchro Summon and have equips, and it just helps to get out even further combo pieces, because there are a lot of equips that just reborn things now. And Lifestream, oh well, it's a Needle Fiber target, just go into that as soon as Needle Fiber goes into the TCG in 5 years. Black Rose Dragon, I feel, needs no introduction whatsoever, because it's just a field nuke on crack, and why would you not actually play it in everything during early 5Ds? Even into Zexal, Black Rose is just broke. It's just really good. You tech in a level 3 tutor in your rank 4 toolbox deck just to be able to Black Rose, because it's just good. Why do you think Exoton was banned? Then we have Blackwing Dragon, which, negates, burn, and can lower attack. That's kind of incredibly sad. It's not even a member of the archetype it was supposed to be the boss monster of. I don't get it. Like, I understand that you can use this with Zephyros. I mean, in the anime, at the very least, with Zephyros. In real life, you can only use it once to, like, negate the 400 burn and be able to do something, but that's terrible. And you could probably do that with infinitely better things. I just don't get Blackwing Dragon and why it's so bad. Even Blackfeather Dark Rage Dragon isn't that much of a step up, and usually the manga dragons are still really good, like, oh, I don't know, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, or Stardust Spark Dragon, where some people would just run both the Stardust, and would definitely just run Hot Red instead of RDA. Yeah, you just don't play either of them. Okay, so number 5, I honestly forgot was a cover card for a while, until I was making this video. It is Shark Drake Vice. Cover card, Abyss Rising. You know, you'd think that I would remember this card since the first thing I did on this channel was open Abyss Rising packs. I still have that Abyss Gaios too. But either way, Shark Drake Vice, sure you can rank it up immediately upon summoning a Shark Drake, you don't even need an RUM spell, which is pretty neat since if you demanded that it would honestly be way closer to number 1. But let's just look at it as it is. You can make things 0 attack, and that's all. That's all that matters. You could try to OTK with this. You can, like, put Trice on it and Mage Power and all that, but at that point, you're just playing a bad goat deck in Zexal era. And I'm going to be honest, that's pretty dumb. I just don't get why this is not only a cover card, but a ghost rare, dude. Like, this is a ghost rare. Someone who collects ghost rares has, like, ghost rare Stardust, ghost rare Black Rose, ghost rare all the Signer Dragons except RDA, which is really sad, but whatever. And then has to look at the fact that this is a ghost rare, and I don't understand it. Number 4 is... oh god! This is a card that we don't even put in the Jaden deck that we build for accurate anime decks. This is Chaos Neos. Set name, Gladiators Assault. Now, this set has a bunch of whack stuff in it anyway, but its cover card slash ghost rare is pretty hilarious for a number of reasons. One, it's a Neos triple fusion, so it's automatically just not happening ever. 2, it has a coin flip effect that can backfire on you for all of this work that you've put in. 3, that backfire is the only way that you're not going to just put this thing back in the extra deck. And 4, its name is Rainbow Dragon. Yeah, if you're not aware about this misprint, it's kinda notorious. First sets to have ghost rares, and you've got this going on. There's 2 versions of it too, which just shows how much Konami cared about this card. Granted, I'm sure Jaden cares about this card, and I care about Jaden, so that keeps it from being on the top. Nah, I'm just kidding, that's not bias, it's just that there are 3 even worse cards. Number 3 is a card that is a genuinely awful idea, and should not have actually made it in its current form into the real-life card game as opposed to just staying in the anime. We have a tie between 2 cards, one being Majestic Red Dragon, set Absolute Power Force, and, of course, Majestic Star Dragon, and its set is Stardust Overdrive. Now, both of these cards have a similar problem. Red is worse than Majestic Star. It's worse than Shooting Star, of course it is. But it's worse than Majestic Star just because Majestic Star actually has, like, a bunch of cool effects on it. But it's also still terrible, and I feel like talking about both of their problems right here, right now. Why should you have to have A specific Synchro monster, B, a specific level 1 tutor monster that can't be used for anything other than these 2 synchros, and C, just any level 1 laying around. Oh, but if you had a level eater, you could level eater the synchro, and then you'll be able to use a level 2 non-tuner monster to be able to do it. Okay, how does this make it any better? Level 1s are more spammable anyway, so it just doesn't matter to me. No, it's... okay. These effects are pretty good, right? You want to be able to use them. Maybe it's worth the cost. It's not worth it if they just dip. These boys just dip after a little bit. They just look the opponent dead in the eye, give the peace sign, and then their opacity lowers to 0 as they go right back into your extra deck. I'm not certain I understand the logic behind this. I don't think they'd be too broken if they didn't do that. But boy howdy, Neos Fusions taught Konami how to do this, huh? At least, I'd imagine so. Number 2 is, well, this is from a set that I opened a lot of when I was a kid. Mainly because I kept making money off of selling Stardust Dragon in the special editions. This is number C96, Darkstorm, from the set Shadow Specters. Well, Shadow Specters was kind of an set in the first place, because what did you really get out of it? You got Felgrand, a reprint of Tooting and Stardust Dragon, you had the start of Ghost Tricks. That's really about it that mattered for a really long time. Shadow Specters kind of didn't do much to shake up the meta at all. Or, I mean, not even shake up the meta, just like add to the meta in anything. Or give new cards to meta decks. It's kind of ridiculous how it didn't do basically anything. Oh, well, you got the Mythic Tree Dragon and the Mythic Water Dragon. So you could have Mythic Rulers, I guess, which was just carried by Dragon Rulers being broken. Then you had Nikitama and Aratama being good spirit support for the first time in a fucking decade. So that's cool, I guess? Whatever. But then you have its boss monster being C96 Darkstorm. The number of materials required for a relinquished style effect isn't worth it, because keep in mind, it takes 4 level 3 darks! Oh, no, but you're supposed to rank it up! That way you only have 3 level 2 darks! That's still god-awful! And then you give it a very mediocre effect. You have to rank it up using Dark Mist, which requires level 2 spam to summon, which you'd much rather just go into Sandayu in, which came out in this set! You had Ronin Raccoon Sandayu in this set. So you had, like, beast support going for you, for your rogue bad deck option. So why would you ever want to play this as opposed to just summoning a big thing? I'm not certain I understand why you would ever want to use this. Thematics? You'd have it because you're a number hunter, I guess? But hey, at least Felgrind was the Ghost Rare in this set, and not this thing. That'd be even more disgusting. Probably the worst Ghost Rare. Number 1, if you guys didn't see this coming, it's because you just looked at this card pack and thought, oh yeah, that's one of the blue Yugi packs. Nah, there's a monster in the background. This is number 1, EXODIA NECROSS, from the set Dark Crisis. Well, what is there to really say? EXODIA is such a fundamental part of Yu-Gi-Oh's identity that draw cards have to be balanced around the fact that EXODIA just exists at any given time. You have EXODIUS, which no one uses for its win condition, but people just use it because it's a free level 10, or to recycle from their graveyard, which is a pretty neat use for it. You have True EXODIA, which is one of the dankest memes I've ever seen in my life. You have the, like, newer EXODIA support with, like, the legendary EXODIA Incarnate, and then Exotic-bliterate, you know, the trap with 2 exclamation points, because it's great. So you can bounce a thing. That's pretty cool. Well, the black sheep of this family has to be EXODIA NECROSS. It's only summonable by what's equivalent to a bootleg ritual spell that needs all EXODIA limbs, and isn't searchable in the least, not even pre-prep or anything like that. It's a slow beater with outdated protection that dies from any graveyard disruption ever, especially considering the Called by the Grave is not only a thing, but it is a card that people play, as is DD Crow. And it's not like the anime where it has an effect based on each, like, based on each monster that you have in the graveyard, like each EXODIA limb. It's just dead ass. You better have all of them at that rate. I'm not certain I understand where this card is coming from. I'm not certain why people would want to play this card, because you need all 5 of them so that it can just not die. Put Safe Zone on it, I guess. No, you're not doing that.